everybody, welcome to Railway Trip in Tibetan Style. This is Niu Niu, bringing you a brand new live stream here in Tibet. 我们在西藏日喀则. Yes, we're in Shigatse. We are changing to another place already. This is the area where the altitude is even a little bit higher than Lhasa itself. Now I am standing in an altitude of around 3,800 meters above sea level. And as you can see, it is really hard to identify that from the view, from the environment I'm standing in, because basically I'm standing in a garden, a very beautiful vegetable base, and this is their signature greenhouse designated for people to tour a little bit, learn about the agriculture industry here in Tibet, and even have a taste of the delicious vegetable grown from this very land. For those of you who are not familiar with our series, Railway Trip in Tibetan Style is a 14-day-long series of programs with pictures, video stories, live streams, audio stories, everything you can imagine we can provide. And here we are in Tibet. We've traveled from Beijing to Xining by air, and then from Xining to Lhasa on a railway. After 22 hours on the train, we were basically exhausted but stunned by the beautiful view. And ever since we're here, we started to provide you with all the interesting natural environment, resources, landscapes, as well as culture and history side of this amazing land. And I'm Niu Niu, bringing you this live stream here in this greenhouse, because traditionally for Tibetan people, vegetables are not considered a very common dish on their table. However, that situation has changed due to their countless efforts and the constant effort they made to bring this beauty to this land. So yes, here we are. And let me have a shout out to those of you who have already tuning in. We have Harry Mandel, hello. Hanif, very happy to see you. Ola to Lupita, and Jessie is here, very happy to have you here. So with no further ado, let's start our journey here in the greenhouse and actually dig up a little bit about the story behind the vegetable, the dish changing, and even the diet structure change of Tibetan people. So let's go. As you can see right behind me, we see the sculpture for a while, and the sculpture is a man fighting a dragon. You might want to ask, how come the man is fighting a dragon? The dragon is considered a very important totem here in China. It's considered a, let's say, mythical animal that is a symbol of the royalty. Why is the man fighting against the dragon? If you guys know the answer, let me know in the comment area, and a little bit later I will show you the answer. And we have many of you tuning in already. Hello to Malik, good morning, old friends. Good morning to you. To Amar, beautiful, thank you. Amo, happy to have you. And Kumar, good morning. Niyaz, good morning. Oh, many of you are just saying hi to me. Let me know what is your time when you are watching the live stream. And today, here we are in Shigatse, Tibet Autonomous Region, and we are around 11:30 something, and we are touring this beautiful vegetable base. Actually, previously in Tibet, because of the high altitude, the low temperature, and the abundant yet too direct sunlight, vegetables are not considered something, let's say, common. It's considered luxurious for the higher upper class people, the so-called noblemen, for the top officials. Of course, they get to have some vegetables, but for common people, common Joe Bloggs on the streets like us, previously in old Tibet, they would not be able to appreciate these kind of green in their lives, these kind of leafy vegetables in their lives. And up to 1990s, Tibetan people started to import and take some vegetables from inland because, of course, they can live on, for example, highland barley. They can live on wheat, on zamba, their local diet, their local food, but it's a staple food, and they will suffer from, or they would suffer from, a deficiency of vitamins, not enough nutrition. All these things actually happen. So the trend, well, the imports of vegetables started to happen from inland areas to Tibet, to the Qinghai Tibet plateau. And I think up to around 1990s, Tibetan people would pack a lot of different vegetables in their backpack when they're traveling or on vacation in outside of the region, and that was still a thing. But there are still a lot of people wishing to and trying really hard to and devoted to bring the vegetable growing technology here in Tibet so that Tibetan people would be able to enjoy their fresh vegetables that they grow themselves. And that started this trend of trying to figure out how to build the greenhouses in different places in Tibet and how to figure out the right way to grow different vegetables, different fruits in Tibet. And because the atmosphere, the weather condition, and the natural condition is very different in Tibet. For example, the place I am standing in is called Bainan, that is Bainan County in Shigatse, and its average temperature, annual average temperature is only 6 degrees Celsius, so really, really cold. On top of that, it's also a very windy place, making it hard for them to build a proper and solid greenhouse because the greenhouse, as you can see up there, needs a lot of, let's say, supporting structure, needs membranes covering the entire greenhouse, and it also needs, for example, proper glasses that can withstand the strong wind but not block out too much sunlight. So a lot of things need to be reconsidered, even though the people who were building the greenhouses were actually expertise. They've been building greenhouses all over the country for so many years, and they've built dozens of greenhouses in different places, yet they found challenge here in Tibet. But as you can see, even though challenges do exist, these expertise, these aiding Tibet supporting groups and teams actually found their ways after so many times of experiment and numerous tries, and they've got this tried and tested greenhouse. And I am standing in here, even though out there it's really cold, you need to wear a jacket. In here I'm wearing just my dress, and I feel a little bit hot even in this demonstration center. All right, let's see if you guys have any questions here. If so, let me know in the comment area. I would love to answer them. And thank you to Eddie for sending in a message saying, Eddie saying it's 10:30 p.m. in Oklahoma. Ooh, that's not too late. I think our live stream would be a good, program helping you to go to sleep perhaps a bit later. And hello to AK Siddiqui. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. And Muhammad Foysel saying beautiful. Thank you very much. Mimathan saying good morning. Morning to you too. And we have watching from Bhutan. Thank you guys so much for sending in the messages. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment area. I will answer your questions as soon as possible, no matter where you're watching, because we are actually live streaming on multiple platforms. We're live streaming on all the CGTN platforms, including the website, the Facebook, as well as domestic platforms. We're also live streaming on CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page, YouTube channel, and 英语环球广播微博, as well as 甲16号视频号 on WeChat. In the meanwhile, we are also live streaming on all the China Plus Culture platforms, because even though this is somehow a little bit falling into the category of nature and agriculture industry, yet you do not really know how much of a culture element actually lies in this specific topic. Right here in front of me, as you can see, we are in this exhibition center, so there are a lot of fun sculptures, interesting animal sculptures over here, and here we are standing or sitting a man holding a let's say cabbage. I guess this is a cabbage, and this showcases that actually in ancient times there has been people growing vegetables in Tibet. The only difference is that in the past, vegetables are considered a luxurious delight, only served to the so-called high-class people. But nowadays, we get to enjoy fresh served vegetables here in Tibet ourselves, and I will tell you why in some other exhibition halls. But standing here, it actually triggered another fun anecdote I'd like to share with you. In old Tibet, for example, monasteries are not allowed to take part in agriculture activities. They are not allowed to work. They can, of course, learn about the classics in Tibetan Buddhism. They can do a little bit of cleaning and housework kind of work in the monasteries, but they cannot actually work and provide food for themselves. And in ancient China, scholars are not supposed to work. Scholars are supposed to, let's say, learn from the classics. They should read. They should take part in the imperial examination. They should not be working. But ever since the establishment, the founding of People's Republic, ever since the founding of PRC, People's Republic of China, people started to change their notion, change their mentality, because we are told that working, manual labor working, is a noble task. If you can, let's say, grow your own food, if you can do a little bit of gardening, and you can have your very own fruit and vegetable in your little yard, it's not considered something demeaningful. It's considered something very noble and very, let's say, earthly to do. I guess that kind of mentality is universal, and it's just some fun anecdote I'd like to share. So here in Tibet, we pay a lot of respect to those who actually brought this fresh served vegetable to all the Tibetan people here. As far as I know, here in Bainan, well, I think the status is only around in 1918. I can only assume it's getting better. But back in 1918, Bainan, the agriculture activity, the fresh vegetable produce in Bainan can actually meet the supply or the requirement of the entire Shigatse area. I think the number is they can meet the requirement. They can meet 85% of the requirement during summer and autumn, and 65% of the requirement during winter and spring, making this place the real vegetable base, not only in the sense of this fun touring as well as the fun sculptures, but also in a very practical sense. Hello to 漫步小村, happy to have you here. And we've had Yu Li-zhong saying hi to Niu Niu 老师 on the higher place. Yes, this place is really high. Actually, in Shigatse, we are only 300 kilometers away from Kumulama. So yes, we are really close to the roof of the world. That is perhaps why we want to bring you this brand new experience of trying some vegetables on the roof of the world. As for Shigatse itself, the average altitude would be around 4,000. Just to put things in perspective, you know, for commercial airlines, their airliners are around 600 meters above sea level, and we are in the situation of 4,000 kilometers. And the average height of Kumulama would be around 6,000 kilometers above sea level. So yes, if you're saying we are in a high place, saying hi to you, you are absolutely right. This is really a high place. And Jessie saying 11:34 p.m. here, Niu Niu. Thank you for sharing that. And Jessie saying, have you had a chance to enjoy some of the Tibetan tian cha, Niu Niu? Well, not today, but previously. Well, I think yesterday or even before that, I've all had some tian cha, and also some buttered tea, su you cha, buttered tea. Tea has been an important vital element in Tibetan people's, let's say, diet, because with enough butter, enough oil, as well as sugar and a little bit of tea, they would allow Tibetan people to have a better, let's say, nutrition structure, especially during those times when they were not equipped or they were not provided with good and sufficient and abundant vegetables. Ooh. Now I know why my camera crew instructed me to stand here. This is not only a demonstration center for people to learn about the agriculture activity industry here in China, but I think it's also a really good place to spend a little bit quality time with your families. Happy family time. And look at that tiger, so vivid. Even though we know tigers are not going to be with the pandas, but still, very interesting place. Oh, since I'm here, 老虎, tiger. 老虎, 老虎, tiger. Amy saying, wow, but why there is dragon in vegetable gardens? Yes, there are dragons, there are deers, there are pandas and tigers. This is a family fun place. Actually, in this vegetable base, there are more than 500 kinds of plants introduced to this place from the southern part of China. That is why you see these kind of vegetations, these kind of trees. I think I see them sometimes in Hainan, sometimes in Yunnan province. So these different places are the home to these very leafy, green and beautiful kind of vegetable. Oh, these are not vegetables, kind of trees, but the mere existence of these kind of trees in this greenhouse shows you how much effort they made to make this environment suitable and conducive to grow these plants that were supposed to, or that are supposed to, only exist in very warm, very moisturized, very wet places. But here we are. This is like a miracle here in Tibet, in the roof of the world. Meanwhile, good morning to Karen saying, good morning, your teaching skills. Nice, you are beautiful too. Thank you very much for that compliment. Hello to Mad, to XTF saying, who are you? This is Niu Niu. We are doing live streams on multiple platforms in CRI Learn Chinese, Facebook page, YouTube channel, and 英语环球广播微博. And now we are in Tibet. We traveled to Tibet from Beijing, and in this 14-day long trip, we are actually providing you with a very special segment, a very special design series of shows, and that is called Railway Trippin' Tibetan Style. We're here in Tibet, traveling in different cities. Several days we change a place, and because we want to show you the nature, the culture, as well as the history of Tibet from all different perspectives and in different kind of locations. And here we are in Shigatse, actually in Bainan County. In this county, we get to show you the vegetable growing technique and the agriculture industry of this place. So we are entering actually the second exhibition hall, and if you can take a look, you can see these are sculptures behind me. This actually depicts a Chinese story, 愚公移山. 愚公移山. Yu means silly, not very smart, not so quick. Gong talks about an elder man. Yi is move, and Shan is mountain. 愚公移山 basically saying this stubborn old man wanted to move a mountain. So this story talks about Yu Gong, this stubborn man, having a huge mountain in front of his door. So every day when he wants to get out, when he wants to travel a little bit, go to the town, buy something, do some grocery shopping, he needs to climb over the mountain or go around the mountain, which makes his daily life really hard and arduous. So one day he made a decision to move the mountain. He decided to just, instead of moving to different places, he decided to move the mountain. And his neighbor was very curious and could not understand. And the neighbor believed this is an unreasonable move. And the neighbor said, you can just, move to a different place. Think about it. If you move the mountain day after day, how long will you be able to actually create a path for yourself? However, Yu Gong's answer was interesting. Yu Gong said, I know I cannot finish the job. I will move the mountain a little bit by myself, and then I will pass on the task to my future generation, to my son. My son will continue to move the mountain, and after my son, I will have grandchildren, and they will continue to move the mountain. As long as my family is prosperous and they continue, let's say, be determined to finish that task, one day, eventually, they will be able to get away with the mountain, and we will be able to live in a place mountain-free. Of course, in the story, there is a spirit or a little, let's say, mountain god in charge of the mountain, and the mountain god feels, well, that is a tough old man. I cannot really compete with that. He has offsprings all along, and yeah, maybe it's time for me to go. So the mountain god actually moved himself, and the mountain god left. So the Yugong got his happily ever after ending and got the mountain-free ending. I know the story sounds silly from the surface. If you hear it and you say, that's not a very smart man. But I think that is the kind of spirit that we sometimes should have when we're encountering some real problems, but we can't get around, because not every obstacles can be got around. Think about it. If the people initially wanted or having the initiative to start planting vegetables here in Tibet, decided that it's just too hard, it's simply too windy, the natural environment is simply too, let's say, harsh, and they just simply cannot even get used to the high altitude, they would leave, but they didn't. Instead, they stayed. Just like Yugong, they started to, little by little, constructed these lovely greenhouses and started to do experiment on how to plant each and different kind of vegetable, fruits here in Tibet, and one piece after another, passing the knowledge and the technology to local people so that we get to enjoy all this. And I was told that is the reason they had Yugong Yishan, the sculpture here. They're not pursuing after a rapid change. They're not actually looking to have a makeover overnight. Instead, their goal is to make changes little by little, even generations after generation, to move the high technology, to move the science and technology that Tibetan people need to hear. So, yeah, hope you love the story and let me know in the comment area. Also, in the very beginning, we talked a little bit about the sculpture of a man fighting a dragon. Did you get why do we have a sculpture there, and why is the man fighting the dragon? Let's see if I got some answers. Jason saying, what a lovely garden. What are some famous Tibetan plants and vegetables? And hello to Haran from Cambodia, Canada as well. When it comes to Tibetan style vegetables, I have to say they do not really have a signature vegetable, because in Tibet, we know because of the high altitude, it's relatively dry. The sunlight is too direct and a bit too abundant, and the temperature is rather low, as well as the air is rather thin. Ooh, I'm catching my breath a little bit as well because I'm talking a bit fast. And on top of that, it's also very windy in different places. So even though Shigatse, the county I am in right now, is already considered in Tibetan language, Rikatse actually means the place with the best most fertile soil. Even in this condition, they were not famous for growing vegetables. Instead, they were famous for growing highland barley or wheat, some other kinds of staple food. And now, as you can see, these are all introduced to Tibet. So instead of not having vegetables to eat, they move on to import vegetables from inland, and now they land on growing their own vegetables. And that's why we call it a miracle on the roof of the world. Many of you are still sending in, wow, so many messages. Thank you guys so much. Hello to Xiao Yuer. Xiao Yuer said, 大家好. Hello to you too. And hello to 最近有读鲁迅文章吗 saying hi. Hi to you too. I love your name. That's a very interesting nickname. And we have Prince saying, Niu Niu, welcome to Shijiazhuang. You can explore the Hebei Museum and Buddhist Mountain. I would love to. In the future, if I ever get the chance to do that, I will let you know, and perhaps you can introduce to me some fun things about Tibet excuse me, about Hebei Museum and the Buddhist mountain. Thank you, Semi. And we have Kita saying, I love high places and vegetables and tea. Do you grow cashews? I do not, but I would love to learn to grow cashews. Not really sure here because I don't think cashew is. Well, I've seen it here in this specific garden, but I will ask them for you if you want to know the answer. And in the meanwhile, wow, we have Glenn saying hi from West Virginia, USA. Happy to have you. We have a friend saying 牛牛早上好. Sorry, I do not know how to pronounce your name, but thank you so much for sending in a message. Rick saying a great story of how if people work together, we can even move mountains. Yes, if we work together, we move mountains. And for those obstacles that you can't really get around, it's okay to just put your foot down, be determined, and start it to finish or tackle the problem a little by little. You will get there eventually. If men can move mountains, you can be successful. Also, we have Sasha saying, awesome, I'm from Canada and would love to visit China soon. Thank you so much for sharing China's beauty. Thank you for sharing that message with us. Vivian saying, the place pretty good for a stroll with family and friends. Looks so relaxing. It is very relaxing and it's really soothing. And I have to tell you, in Chicago, actually last night, I experienced a little bit altitude sickness because it is really up high here. The average altitude is around 4,000 meters above sea level, and the place I was staying is around 3,800 meters above sea level. Do you know what is the altitude in Beijing? 47. I moved from 47 to 3,800. So that is a huge alleviation. And I'm a little bit short of breath. But I have to tell you, here in the greenhouse, it's actually much better. Because in the greenhouse, there are so many different vegetables, different plants, and it's providing me with a lot of oxygen. So let's continue to move and see some other interesting technologies that are also being introduced here to Tibet. I was told that when we are traveling in this exhibition hall, the point is to show people this vertical farming, 立体养殖 or 立体种植, vertical farming. In Chinese, we have this saying, 面朝黄土背朝天, meaning to face down onto the ground and to have your back being shined over by the sun. Because when farmers are actually working, conducting agriculture activities, they need to bend over so much and work really hard, and that is the posture they will have. It's really bad for their back. So we introduced this vertical agriculture in a lot of places, but now in Tibet as well, that we allow these kind of vegetables and plants to grow in these vertical shelves so that the irrigation as well as management and also if we want to get rid of some pesticides, all these, let's say, activities and all these actions can be done except for the very last layer, the last shelves. For these upper ones, it's actually better, much better for the health of the farmers as well. So yes, vertical agriculture, it saves place, it saves soil, and also it saves manual labor. And in this greenhouse, maybe I'm not really sure if on top of there you get to see that there are a lot of irrigation, let's say, outlets. Right there, take a look. I was told these are actually some very carefully managed, accurate, and reliable technology. Once it's been detected that the moisturizing level is, or the level of water temperature is changing in the greenhouse, all these equipment would, let's say, function automatically instead of manually. So they would keep the greenhouse in a certain temperature and in a certain level of, let's say, 湿度 moisturizing kind of level. And we are here with some pepper, 辣椒. 绿辣椒，这里有红辣椒，长得真好。啊。I really am happy when I see these kind of natural cultural agriculture produce. I can actually recall when I was a little girl, when I was in kindergarten or maybe in primary school. I remember during that time, during winter, we would go buy a lot of potatoes, cabbages, Chinese cabbages, and we would also perhaps buy some carrots. And that would be the stock in our home. That would be the kind of vegetable we would be able to enjoy during the winter. And I honestly cannot put finger on what changed or when did the change happen. Because nowadays, during winter time, I get to enjoy a variety of different fruits and vegetables. I get to try different kind of mushrooms, different kinds of leafy veggies, and they're all just, it feels like they've appeared in my life without me knowing it. And I think if we take us a little bit back in time, we would realize the change that happened to our daily lives. It's the same situation here in Tibet. I was told that in Tibet, actually, previously, they have this habit of only cook the dish of a leafy vegetable or having a vegetable dish every 5 days. So every 5 days, they would be having one plate of vegetables. And they're not even fresh vegetables. Sometimes they're, pickled vegetables or preserved vegetables. So one dish every 5 days. Until the 1990s, it started to be one dish or one vegetable dish every day. So in one day, there will be one vegetable dish that they can enjoy and have fun about. Let's say, enjoy. And then nowadays, I think the practice or the common practice would be to have a little bit of preserved vegetable in the morning, and then they would have 2 or 3 dishes of vegetables in the at noon, and some. I'm only talking about those who are living in the rural area of Tibet, and then they would have a little bit left over from their let's say, lunch and enjoy during dinner as well, during supper. So yeah, that is also the change that's been happening here in Tibet. Just like we've seen some changes happening to our lives, Tibetan people are now enjoying, I would say, a pretty decent life as well. Let's see if you guys have questions here or comments here. And we have Wai Xu saying the vegetables look very nice. Can you really taste them? Yes, actually I can. For example, I am walking beside some really cute looking, guess what are they? They're actually cute looking cucumbers, 小黄瓜. You might find them not really the way you would imagine, because these are some special 水果黄瓜. We're calling them fruit vegetables, fruit cucumber, because they've been under some cultivation, and the seedings as well as the, let's say, the types of the cucumber were carefully managed and selected from those that are much tastier and much, let's say, I would say juicy. So I'll ask, 您好 Hello, 您好，我可以直接摘下来吃吗？可以吗？那我小的也可以吗？可以。Ooh, I can, so I'll have a taste. 这里有一个吗？这个可以哈，我来摘这个。Okay, so I asked, so I didn't do it without permission. All right, let's take it. 就直接这样摘就可以哈。可以。哦，有点渣。有点渣，谢谢。Oh, 谢谢您，谢谢 Thank you. Okay, so this is a cucumber. Here we have it. In Chinese, we have a saying, 顶花带刺. So 顶花 means on top of it, there is this little yellow flower. It shows that it's very fresh and you just pick it out directly from the plant. I just did that, you guys saw me. And 带刺 is talking about on the surface. It's not very smooth. There are a little bit tiny little picks on it. And 顶花带刺 is what my mom told me how to identify proper cucumber. So for this one, I think it's really good. Let me have a taste. It's really crunchy and juicy. It actually reminds me of the cucumber I tried when I was a kid, when I was a little girl. There's a Chinese expression. Chinese people say, 味儿, that is the taste. And when you want to describe the taste, you sometimes want to see that 有黄瓜味儿. The cucumber tastes very cucumbery. I know it doesn't sound like very sophisticated language, but actually shows that it has its authentic, its original taste. And it's actually take a look at it. Inside, should not be chewing while talking. Okay, the inside is also very juicy. Juicy cucumber. Very interesting. I like it. I like it very much. Thank you. 谢谢, 谢谢. I'll hand it over. 谢谢. Okay. Let's continue to move and see what are some other questions you guys have. We have Vivian saying, I worried about your voice today, maybe because you experienced problem, the weather in high altitude or something. Yeah, I got a little bit of sore in my throat, but I'm hanging here because it's my greatest honor to be able to share this amazing vegetable greenhouse to you guys, because it's really a miracle. If you have looked or read a little bit about the history of Tibet, you might already know that previously in old Tibet, because of the harsh atmosphere, environment, Tibetan people were not, let's say, enjoying the kind of variety of food, the kind of comfortness that we did in, for example, Shanxi province, my hometown, or Beijing, the capital. But they are very persistent, they're very determined. They tried their very best to make their home the best place that they can live. And with the help of local government, the infrastructure construction allow water to be sent into different areas so that with enough water, this place can actually start to grow stuff, can start conducting agriculture activity. And then also with the building of the, for example, Qinghai, Tibet Railway, as well as the high-speed trains coming into Tibet and the high expressways in Tibet, allowing the produce, the fresh produce, to actually be sold out to different places in Tibet, so that Bainan is not only considered a major fruit and vegetable base here in Shigatse, but also a very interesting and important vital base for the entire Tibet. And seeing all this makes me a little bit sentimental, and yeah, it really makes me happy. So, like I said, I'm very glad to share all these with you. In the meanwhile, we see New Jar asking questions, saying what is his name. This is Niu Niu, and you're watching a special series, Railway Trip in Tibetan Style. We are traveling mainly on the high-speed trains within Tibet and going to different places, different counties and cities in Tibet Autonomous Region, so that we can provide you with different facets of this fascinating region. I know for a lot of people, maybe not you guys know a lot, but for a lot of people, especially people living in the Western world, they idealize Tibet into this idyllic place that is a little bit fell behind, a little bit still within the developing stage. It is not considered somewhere that is so-called materialized or commercialized. It is a place where people are living a very simple life. But if you really consider the possibility, what does simple life mean? Simple life means you do not have electricity. You cannot really buy things. You cannot really enjoy different variety. You can only eat what you grow from your own land without the help of modern technology. And I do not think that is the kind of ideal life I would want for my fellow countrymen here in Tibet. I want them to be able to have electricity, to have internet signal, to be able to show videos, to do live stream online with their friends, and to be able to travel around whenever they want. So yes, This is making me very happy. And doing these kind of live streams makes me feel like I'm sharing the true beauty of China to you. And that is truly a privilege. Thank you guys so very much. 梅麦克 saying 西藏蔬菜植物比较多. That is not very accurate. Actually, in Tibet, previously, we cannot really enjoy all these different types of fruit and vegetables. It's only changing because of the countless effort of the Tibetan people, as well as people from all over the country coming here to help them. Actually, for this specific greenhouse, it was introduced by some technician people group as well as teams from Shandong province. Shandong province is considered the most productive vegetable as well as fruit base here in China, and they are traveling around helping people with the technology to grow vegetables, and they helped build this vegetable base here in Tibet. So yay, Shandong people, you're doing a really good job, as well as Tibetan people. Yeah, I love it. Slow down, take a breath. Thank you very much for taking care of me. You guys are the best. Interesting introduction from Michael Watt. Thank you. Good afternoon to Kenny as well. Very happy to have you. We have Joseph saying, that's just life, even our real life. We build it gradually till we become great. I think I'll like to study Chinese history and philosophy. Thank you very much for saying that. And you guys' comments makes me feel like I'm doing a job that is worth doing, really worth doing. Thank you so much. Yes, having all of you sending in comments and questions as well. We have Vivian saying, and we are really appreciate your efforts and to all team working to give such a great live stream always. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you so much. Jason saying, are any specific flowers or trees associated with Tibet as symbols? That is a really good question. How about I give you the answer in the next live stream where I can be a little bit sound smarter. I will love to do that. And let's see what are some other questions. And let's say, yes, I agree. Also, they deserve the efforts of everyone elsewhere. Absolutely right, my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing from Brian. Thank you very much. 你好，你好 saying 多吃蔬菜有益健康. That's true. I totally agree. We should have much more vegetables and fruits in our lives. And right here, you get to see this is actually a canteen in the vegetable base. If you're traveling here to Tibet and you want to have a very specific and very unique experience of having let's say enjoying vegetables and fruits on the top of the world, on the roof of the world, you might consider coming here, because after a fun tour you also get to enjoy a lovely dinner, a lovely meal here in this vegetable base as well. We have Jesse saying some pepper and nice vinegar would be a great addition to the cucumber. Are you suggesting me to eat vegetable or eat garlic with like directly? That is considered something a little bit strange. And we also have Hussein saying greetings from Iraq. Wow. Very happy to have you join our live streams. For those of you who have just tuning in, this is Niu Niu. We are providing you a special series of railway trip in Tibetan style, and we are live streaming on multiple platforms, including China Plus culture platforms, CGTN platforms in both domestic as well as overseas outlets, and CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page, YouTube channel, and 英语环球广播微博. And right now, I am in a vegetable base here in Bainan, Shigatse, Tibet Autonomous Region. And right in front of me, I see a table of delicious fruits and a very gentle, let's say, nice-looking gentleman, and I think I will have a chat with him, and I will introduce him to you guys because he is also our special guest today. 您好，孟老师，您好，您好，孟总，您好，您好，特别高兴，谢谢您，谢谢您。欢迎欢迎。我们今天谢谢。请坐。OK， 您坐，您坐。OK, to start with, I'd like to have you introduce yourself to our friends a little bit. 您能给我们的观众做个自我介绍吗？
大家好。我是这个园区的负责人孟德利， 我们这个园区是17年3月份开始建设，到现在呀是已经种出了就是78个内地的不同的品种。这是给大家展示的，对在面前，这个啊。
Okay, actually, Mr. Meng here is being very modern. Being modest because actually he is the founder of this plantation, of this vegetable base, and he said that ever since 2017 they started to construct this vegetable base, starting actually seriously from scratch, from the building of the greenhouse. Ever since 2017 they've already managed to cultivate 78 different kinds of fruits and vegetables. Some of them are introduced from the inland, but when they introduce them here, they have to do a lot of different kind of experiment as well as, tests so that these, let's say, fruits and vegetables can actually take roots here in Tibet. 非常不容易，而且这些都看起来非常漂亮哎，它们颜色很丰富，而且很新鲜的样子。
从那个内地，从老家。把这个新的品种引进过来，就西藏人呀，就是不出当地能够吃上新鲜的瓜果蔬菜。另外就当地人呀学会技术，从根本上脱贫，这是咱的真正的目的。
哦，说的真好。I was told that these vegetables or fruits and vegetables are actually picked directly from this base. So they were on a tree like 2 minutes ago, and now they are in our plate. They look really fresh and nice. And Mr. Meng here said that they introduced all these different kinds of fruits from the inland area, namely perhaps Shandong province more often, and to Tibet. And they also would pass the knowledge and technology to Tibetan people, local people, so they would know how to grow different fruits and vegetables here, and they would know how to, let's say, use them as a tool to get themselves out of poverty, and that is how they create a beautiful life with fresh vegetables and fruits to eat. 我可以尝一个吗？您推荐哪个？ What would you recommend?
这是咱老家引进过来这个阳光玫瑰。
阳光玫瑰。
对，这个葡萄啊，口感特别的好吃。你尝尝，你先尝一个。
Okay, so this is actually called Sunshine Rosy or Sunshine Rose 阳光玫瑰。为什么叫这个名字啊？是太好吃了是吗？
对。
Because it's very tasty. It can give you a sense of sunshine as well as rose. I'll have a taste.
有个浓浓的玫瑰的味道。
有哎。
是吧？啊。
哇。This is very tasty. It's juicy, explode in my mouth, and you taste the sweetness first, and then the juice would prevail your entire taste buds, and after a little bit there is this strong sense of rose in your mouth and exploded. 这很好吃哎，这也是刚刚摘下来的。
哎，对，这刚从大棚里摘过来的。
Directly from the breeze. Very nice. Let's have a. 好好吃。
这个品种是。
您不和我一起吃吗？您一起吃啊。Let's enjoy them together.
这个品种呢是人参果。
人参果。
这个人参果，这个营养价值特别的高。
谢谢。
哎，这个口感也非常好。
这个也是。
对。
也是。
这是咱也是在内地引进过来的。
Okay, so this is also introduced from the inland, and in Chinese it is called ginseng fruit. 人参果 ginseng fruit. You know, ginseng is a traditional Chinese medicine as well as a herbal medicine. And ginseng itself is very nutritious and it's really good for your health, for your body, for your immune system. And we call it ginseng fruit, 人参果, is because this fruit itself, even though it is a fruit, it is very nutritious itself. 那种这个人参果在西藏和在比如说山东有什么不同啊？ What is the difference between growing the ginseng fruit here in Tibet and growing it in perhaps some inland area?
它这个在西藏啊，种植这个人参果。种出来的口感比内地要好。为啥呢？它昼夜温差大。昼夜温差大，它导致这个糖分都能够上去。再说你吃上以后啊，它比这个内地的要好吃的多了。
好像更水一些，水分更大。
水分很大。它是这样。
Mr. Meng here told me that growing ginseng fruit here after they successfully cultivated the growing technology in here in Tibet. After they're able to grow ginseng food here in Tibet, they realize that this specific type in Tibet is even better than the type in inner China area, in some, for example, some provinces in the central part of China, because of this drastic difference in temperature during the morning as well as the evening, the temperature change as well as the abundant sunlight and the pollution-free soil allow the ginseng fruit to have even better taste, more juicy and sweeter compared to its equivalent in the inner land. 这个也很好吃，我感觉我吃不完。
对，因为咱这个
很好吃。
因为咱这个为了改变西藏人的饮食习惯，咱就把内地的所有的不同的品种引进过来，叫当地人呀不出当地就能够吃上全国的新鲜蔬菜，这是咱的目的。另外一个，咱这个西藏啊，他当时都是农牧民嘛，咱就为了改变他的饮食，咱把这个老家的就是瓜果类的蔬菜。一共到目前为止，咱们引进了78个品种，都在这里就是开花结果，也能够叫当地人呀都能够吃上新鲜的。
Mr. Meng said that his purpose was to really just to change the diet structure of local people because of the deficiency of certain vitamins, certain elements. Traditionally, Tibetan people, especially the herdsmen as well as the, let's say, farmers are suffering from deficiency of different elements, and they are suffering from some kind of disease. And in order to change their diet, to improve their nutritious situation, to improve their health, around 78 types of different fruits and vegetables are introduced here in Tibet, and that's what Mr. Meng here did. 那我想问您一下，您其实也是在全国各地都去建过大棚，帮助大家推广过这个种菜。So you have actually introduced the building, the technology of constructing these kind of greenhouses around China for, let's say, around 20 different, 有大概20个地方是吗？我看到。
对。
around 20 different times. 那您会觉得在其他地方做这种大棚的推广和在西藏有什么不同吗？What are the differences?
在西藏啊，说实话就是难度比较大，因为它这个气候比较恶劣嘛，昼夜温差又大，风又大，那个啥，难度在种植的过程当中有好多的品种，就是在内地。能够种植的品种在这里不一定能够适应，所以说我们就是经过，我们是受光人嘛，经过就是受光的技术，慢慢的摸索经验，一步一步的把这就是能够在这里生长的品种拿过来去种植。
所以是每一个都要做实验。
每一个品种都在这里先经过一段的实验成功了以后再去推广，包括这个当地的老百姓啊，我们种植好了以后。再去把这个品种给老百姓去种植，是这样。因为咱这个寿光啊，是这个全国都很有名嘛，对这个蔬菜，因为全国蔬菜看寿光。西藏蔬菜呢就看白狼。
是。Actually, Mr. Meng said that cultivating vegetables in Tibet is much harder than doing the same job in other places, other provinces here in China, because of the, again, drastic situation, natural resources and environment, and harsh weather and temperature. It is hard to not only grow vegetables, but building the greenhouse itself is considered a huge challenge. But they managed, and they successfully introduced all these technology and the growing to Tibetan people, not only to their dinner table, but also to their lives as an industry, so that local people, especially those households that are suffered or stricken by poverty, would have the chance to lift themselves out of extreme poverty with the help of the growing of all these different crops. 那我想问一下，咱们西藏人民对这个水果蔬菜一开始的这个接受，您有经历他们从不了解、不熟悉到接受的过程吗？
刚来的时候，说实话，这个西藏人民啊，他这个基本上不太爱这个吃这个蔬菜啊，从这个。到目前为止，从不太爱吃蔬菜到愿意种蔬菜啊，这是一个很艰难的过程。但是我们很自豪的，我们做到了。 做到了以后改变了他的生活饮食，
也是更健康。
也是一种健康。再一个呢，你看你光吃些牛肉啊、羊肉啊，那个对身体也不是那么好嘛。所以说咱还是以这个蔬菜。把他的生活饮食给他改变了，
是真的改变了。所以大家一开始是真的不认识、不了解。现在I was told that actually there has been this experience of not knowing a lot of different kinds of vegetables. For example, the let's say yellow pump watermelons, and these ones I would say is the sweet melons, honey melons, different kinds of melons, as well as fruit type. I will call it fruit-type potato, as well as all different kinds of grapes. From the very beginning, Tibetan people traditionally, because they do not have the habit of having vegetables, they didn't really, well, they were not very enthusiastic about the changes, but the situation is changed now, and thanks to Mr. Meng here, we are happy to say that freshly picked vegetables directly from the greenhouses to Tibetan people's dinner table is now available. Let's have a final shout out to those of you who are sending in messages. I'm very glad to be able to do this live stream with you. We have Glenn saying it's good and economical to grow your own food and often healthier. Totally, here in Tibet with the abundant sunlight, the pollution-free soil, as well as the differences in temperature, we've got really tasty fruits, and I can tell you that because I tried most of them. Kenny saying, Niu Niu, does the sale around China or international with these fruits and vegetables? 我们已经有网友问说，能不能从西藏买一些水果回到他们国家去吃了？咱们有提供这种网上的出口吗？
这个
还没有，是不是？
还没有，在国内是没有问题的。
Now we're only catering to Tibetan people's dinner table. If you want to try them, come to Tibet and you will be able to have a try. And yes, people's fruit. Oh, I love this way of saying it. Yes, it is people's fruit. Google Translate here. It's okay, do not worry about it. If you stay with CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page long enough, you will be able to learn a lot of Mandarin, and perhaps you can come travel here in China and enjoy and see them for yourselves. Fantastic fruits, I agree. And we have Hussein saying, 你们为什么 don't wear a mask? How does the pandemic affect your business? Actually here in Tibet, because there has been no new cases of COVID, the situation is rather, I'll say, mild. But yes, we've experienced a research here in China, for example, in Beijing. I'm pretty sure when I'm back, I will be doing a lot of music tests. And yes, I will be doing tests, and I had experienced some tests, but we're all fine. And I will ask your question though. 所以孟老师，咱们这个最近疫情的情况会影响到您的生意吗？会影响到咱们这个蔬菜基地吗？
对外销售是有一点影响，但是咱这个日喀则现在这个人口是一共是80多万人口，基本上我们这个基地的蔬菜啊。在这个当地都能够消化的，
都是在当地消化，
还问题不大。
So actually, the pandemic is not affecting Mr. Meng's business because here in this vegetable base, most of the fresh produce are consumed by local people, by the people of the county of Shigatse. So they would, well, the only thing they need to do is just transport this fresh vegetables and fruits that they picked, that they harvested directly from the greenhouse to the dinner table of local people, so it's not being affected so much. And we have Yu Li Zhong saying the lack of oxygen does not have any minor influence on the growing of those vegetables, even in the greenhouse. I think it is the greenhouse that is adjusting the situation and condition here in Tibet, here in Shigatse, and that's how we have all these amazing vegetables. And thank you guys very much. We have Chen Dan saying you explained wonderfully about the greenhouse project, how it affects Tibetan people's lives positively. Very nice work. I like the French cucumber. You look so pretty today. Have a good day. Thank you very much. And Rick say congratulations, Mr. Meng, on creating such a heavenly garden in the clouds in an amazing short time. 我们的网友说非常感谢您，可以让我们在这边展示您的整个的这个产业，而且说您 您做的非常棒，这个花园美得像天堂一样，而且它现在又是在这么高的世界屋脊，让人觉得非常的佩服。非常感谢您，谢谢。 Thank you very much. Special thanks to our special guest, Mr. Meng here, and hope you enjoy the live stream. Make sure you stay with us, especially for Tibetan railway trip in Tibetan style on all of our platforms, including China Plus Culture, CGTN platforms, and CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page, YouTube channel, and 英语环球广播微博. We are traveling back to Lhasa in a really short time, and perhaps I will see you there. Bye guys, thank you, bye bye.